Hello. I hope you're ready for a rant. Specifically, a rant about using scientific dogma to deny people's lived experience. Okay, brief history lesson. For centuries, people have believed third person data over first person testimony. For example, the excruciating pain of endometriosis was brushed off as women being dramatic. ADHD was chalked up to a lack of discipline, and any person suffering debilitating flashbacks from PTSD was just considered a coward. But now, it's the year of our Lord, 2025. You'd think, after science has made so many borderline unforgivable errors, people would take a fucking breath before using it to deny someone's lived experience. You'd think we would have taken science off of its pedestal and placed it side by side with what people actually feel. But lo and behold, members of the scientific and therapeutic community are coming for somatics and embodiment. So we are calling bullshit. Okay, I'm trying to shake off the rant a little bit. Ugh. In this episode of The Body Knows, we're going to address some posts we've been seeing online tearing down the work that has changed our lives and the lives of so many others. Specifically, we're going to get into the historical swing from religious dogma to science becoming the God we worship. Shout out to Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance for opening my eyes to this when I was just a wee neuroscience student. How Prozac's origin story proves science isn't the infallible thing we pretend it is, in case we somehow needed more evidence. We're also going to get into the scientific research behind somatics, which people like to ignore because it's still in its infancy, because somatics is an emerging field and science is a slow process. We're going to talk about why your lived experience is legitimate data, even when it's not peer-reviewed. That is in quotes. And what it means to consider both subjective truth and objective research at the same time. Because yes, that is possible, and damn, do we need it. And finally, we're going to try to figure out why people get so damn mad when someone suggests that we should trust our own bodies. I mean, it really just doesn't make that much sense to me. So buckle up, y'all. We got a good episode for you today. I'm Leona Waller. You're about to meet my brilliant and slightly pissed co-host, Anna Alley. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're watching. Let's rant.
Well, Leona, you want to know what drives me absolutely insane?
I would like nothing more.
When I am reading all these articles and posts all over the place about somatics, about this mind body emotional connection, and they're like, there's no research to back up those claims.
Yep. Yep. I'm with you. I'm fucking with you.
And like, there's these two pieces, really. And you know what? Everybody listening, I'm ranting right now and unapologetically at the moment. But, like, there's 2 pieces. Actually, there's tons of research and peer-reviewed research, and there's a reason why people are researching all of this right now because there is something really big here being discovered. So there is research to back up those claims. But even if there wasn't, where I'm coming to is you are the research. Your body every single day is giving you data, is giving you a lived experience of truth. Your soft tissue, people always like to say this crazy idea that trauma being stored in the soft tissue is like just the pseudoscientific pop culture nonsense. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to break this down. I'm just going to break this down. I'm just going to break this down. Okay. We as a culture, as a society, use phrases all the time that indicate that our soft tissues are responding to our mental emotional experience. Like, I get butterflies in my stomach when I'm nervous. Oh, you mean you're having a literal, like, physical sensory reaction within your stomach? Okay, people could even say, "No, it's like it's nerve stuff, like, there's not actually any soft tissue happening." Your jaw tightens when you hold back anger. You lose your appetite when you're grieving.
Or like me, when you grind your teeth at night when you're stressed and your dentist makes you get a night guard.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Your stomach drops when you get bad news. You get a lump in your throat as you're physically trying to hold back tears. My stomach was in knots, we say. It felt like a weight on my chest. I got chills down my spine. My palms sweat just thinking about that. I could go on and on of all the different ways that we actually already have an understanding of the fact that our bodies and our soft tissue responds to our mental emotional experience.
Mhm.
You know, I carry stress on my shoulders. How many people have said that? My whole body relaxed when I finally sent that email. Oh, you mean your body was tight and tense from stress, and then you experienced a physical relaxation of that when that stressor went away? Are you saying that your soft tissues of your body were responding to your experience and your mental emotional world? Like, and so this like just brings me back to this, where we are today, culturally, socially, where we live so deeply in our minds and are so deeply disconnected from our bodies, to the point where we have people writing long articles and people trying to debunk this research, this real research, and this real lived experience because they're like, well, I need the research to prove me that. Instead of, all I just want to say to them is like, close your eyes,
Mm,
tune into your body. What do you feel there? When was the last time you did that? It's like
yeah.
sometimes we look down and we're like, "Oh my god, I do have a body. I have I have limbs, I have appendages, I have hands and feet and opposable thumbs. And I can touch myself and feel myself and the sun on my skin and the wind and, like, this delicious food I'm eating." Like, we're so lost because of this disconnect. And
Yeah.
there's people just getting so angry at this whole somatics embodiment trauma-centered care world that's changing people's lives. And yet I see articles with thousands of likes of someone trying to debunk this, making these just absurd claims that they're also not backing up, that they're also not, it's like they're just saying there's no research to back that, and the person reading it's just gonna believe that. There is research to back that. And not only is there research to back that, there is your lived experience in your own body to back.
Yeah. Okay, good. You've taken a breath. I have a point.
Thank you for turn, Leona.
It's just like it points to like this wider phenomenon of like decentering the subjective experience. And like that happened around the Age of Enlightenment, like Descartes, mind versus body, and like really also like the separation of the church from like science and like Galileo and realizing the church didn't have all these answers. And it makes sense that like culturally we had a moment where we had to switch into like, hey, y'all, we need to rely more on like quote unquote objective experiments that can be replicated that are double blind, triple blind, whatever,
Yeah,
because the church is making up a bunch of shit. And like, so I understand why that swing had to happen.
yeah,
But now we are at the point where we are so disconnected from our subjective experience that our body can be screaming signals at us. Our body can be so fucking loud and clear. And we can think that no, it's just like it's a chemical imbalance in our brain, and, like, we just need to go take a medication that doesn't actually really work. But, like, that's what's going on here because that's what science tells us instead of taking a moment to slow down and to, like, listen to the signals of our body. And if you wanna talk about science, our body evolved for millennia, for millions of years, and to be the best tuning, sensing instrument ever. Like we are the descendants of the creatures that won the evolutionary game. And so just fully discounting the subjective experience, like I understand sometimes, especially like, we've talked about when you're triggered and you're having a disproportionate reaction to what's going on, like your subjective experience isn't actually a perfect match for what's happening in reality. And that, yes, that is real. But to fully throw out everything that
Mhm.
happens in the body, and to be like, all of this shit about how emotions are stored in the body, trauma is stored in the body is ridiculous because they don't like the idea that, like, in this case, the quote is like, that your personality causes cancer, which is also an oversimplification of what Gabor Mate actually said, um, is just wild. Like, live in nuance, y'all,
Yeah.
and live in your subjective experience. Why is your subjective experience so terrifying to you?
Yeah.
Why is it so fucking scary that your body feels things? That's the part that, like, continues to confuse me.
Absolutely. Gosh, yeah, and thank you for bringing us back here and back down and into into a
I'm not trying to
conversation.
put out your fire.
A conver
Bring it. More,
I
more,
know,
more.
I'm not saying that, but let's have a
Okay.
conversation instead of just ranting forever. Um, yeah, like, what I'm hearing you say is, we swung from one side of the pendulum to the other, and in the end, living at either extreme isn't going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so how can we find this middle ground? How can we say, how can I it makes me think of the article we wrote, I don't know, back in the winter or something of this both and. How can I
Mhm.
hold multiple things in the same container instead of saying this is a black and white scenario and it's either one or the other? Because the
Mhm.
moment that we go to this black and white thinking has to be fully objective or it has to be fully subjective, we we lose half the truth.
Yeah.
Both of these things. And so how can
Yeah.
we learn to expand our capacity to be able to say, I can hold both of these at the same time. I can really value scientific research for what it has to offer. And I can also really value my lived experience for what it has to offer. And
Yeah.
especially so when we have this collective lived experience that's pointing toward the same thing, trusting that too,
Mhm. Yeah.
not
That's
just what exists in the lab. Yeah.
yeah, trusting our bodies. Like, it it makes me sad to, like, feel, and this is me, like, taking it a little bit to the nth degree, but, like, the loathing for what our body feels, the
Mm.
loathing for the sensitivity of our bodies, the loathing for the fact that we are mortal creatures who don't just obey the laws of physics, but, like, obey, not even obey, but just have all these, like, emotional, energetic, sensational, like, twists and turns, and, like, how dare you, body, not just be a robot, and how dare you not just follow the laws of physics and chemistry and just be, like, calories in, calories out, like, and that's just not how our bodies work, and why wouldn't you wanna work with the truth of our
Yeah.
bodies? Like, if you want to live the best life possible, and that includes in and through your body, why wouldn't you take your subjective experience into account? This is the thing that blows my mind the most, especially when people who are in the realms of neuroscience and psychology shit on somatics, is like, okay, so a lot of them are talking about mental illness, and, like, at its core, mental illness is about a feeling of being depressed, a feeling of being unmotivated, a feeling of being anxious, a feeling of being lethargic. So wouldn't you care so much about the subjective experience? Wouldn't you care so much? Because, like, if you want people to feel alive and fulfilled and satisfied and inspired, like, these are all feelings. So
Yeah.
trying to get from a feeling, from depressed to alive, but ignoring the subjective experience in between to get from that point A to point B just seems absurd.
Yeah, like, how could you be so blind to the path that's gonna get me there? Like,
Yeah, and, like, it's gonna include both and the objective science, scientific, but also we're following the signs of the subjective experience, and, like, Now that we're here, I get to rant about antidepressants. So, the science behind Prozac, the first antidepressant, is wild. And the point of this entire rant is to show that science is not the perfect, infallible process that we act like it is, that people who shit on the subjective experience, who say that things like somatics and embodiment are bullshit, they're basically putting science on this pedestal and saying that it is so much better, it is infallible, the double, triple blind research studies, like those are the only things we can trust. Prozac. So, Prozac became the first antidepressant. They were using it to treat, I don't remember, but it was not. It had nothing to do with mental illness. Anna's going to look it up for me. And they found that it had, on a few number of subjects, it also had this ability to increase their mood. And they went and looked in to the science it was doing. And one of the things that it was changing, it was having an effect on neurotransmitters. And so this is where the theory that mental illness is caused by an unbalance in neurotransmitters all started because Prozac, in some of the test subjects, improved their mood, and Prozac also changed the number of of neurotransmitters in the brain. These two things, they never correlated. They never correlated someone's mood to neurotransmitters. Instead, they just started selling it as an antidepressant and it blew up and they started making all these other antidepressants that do the exact same thing. But they still have not proven a link between changing the neurotransmitters in your brain and improving your mood. Science is not what we make it out to be. And people
Mm.
have I don't see the same, actually, sometimes I do. Like, the article's shitting on psychiatry, but, like, if you wanna shit on a practice, start with psychiatry. Okay, what did you learn in your research?
I learned in my research that originally it was tested for blood pressure regulation and appetite suppression, and then eventually used for major depressive disorder in 1987. And so, yeah, and
That's
I guess, and it makes me want to say, like, first and foremost, like, don't think that Leon and I are shitting on antidepressants. Like, they have helped people, they have saved people's lives. I have family members that have used them, etc.
and actually, they think that the reason they have is because actually they have an anti-inflammatory effect that helps reduce inflammation in the brain and makes people happier. So they actually are starting to think that the reason some of these antidepressants work is because sometimes depression is caused by inflammation. So they improve it in those cases. They still don't know.
There, yeah, yeah. And I think the big thing is that they're not getting to the root cause. This is like another example of how Western medicine is used to secrete, I just combined 2 words, suppress or treat a symptom. Secrete a symptom. Um, Without getting to the root cause of what's going on. And in the end, being on long-term medication like this has also clinically proven to have a lot of secondary physiological side effects that very negatively affect the system. And what somatics is offering is like long-term root cause change.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that there are people within the medical industry, psychiatry, therapy, etc., who are so actively pushing against this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, actually, I won't go there. Not for today. um, and the other piece I just want to say as well is, if you look at somatic experiencing practitioners in your area, of which there are a few, they're booked out months in advance. It is so hard to get an appointment. So many people are applying to work with SEPs. So many people are getting life-changing help from SEPs,
Yeah.
and yet we have people within that same industry saying this is pseudoscience.
Yeah. And to be clear, like, you can have a problem. We're not like, we just don't believe in throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a problem,
Mm.
Vanderkolk, who wrote not the body knows, that's us.
The body
Body
keeps
keeps the
score.
score. Like, yeah, so do we.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have problems with some of the things Gabor Mate or Peter Levine have said, so do we. But, like, that doesn't mean you throw out an entire industry that has helped multiple people, like, thousands, millions of people, like the 2 of us. Like, we believe in this work because it has changed our lives, and we tried so many other things. And so, like, why would you throw the baby out with the bathwater? And why wouldn't you just be like, "Hey, maybe we should do more research on this?" Like, the Church of Reason, the idea that just because it hasn't been scientifically proved, it is bullshit, is so frustrating because it just means it hasn't been scientifically proved yet. That is how the practice of science works.
Mm.
Science is not the holder of all truths. Don't treat it like a religion. That's what we were trying to get rid of in the Enlightenment. We were trying to get rid of religion. So don't turn science into that religion. And for the love of God, hold on to your subjective experience, because that's also what we were trying to get rid of as we threw out religion, as we got tired of all the fucking priests saying the only way you can reach heaven is through us and by giving us all your gold coins or whatever. Like, it comes back to, like, trust your subjective experience and let it be real. Let it mean something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just yeah, there's just, again, this dogmatic belief system, and it's the same thing wearing a different outfit this
Yeah.
time around.
Yeah.
And so how do we move away from dogmatic thinking, from dogmatic systems, and move towards something that actually can hold the complexity and the nuance and the uniqueness of being a human?
Yeah. Yeah. And just, like, it comes back to, like, why do we get so mad when people just wanna trust their subjective experience? Like, why does that piss people off so
So
much?
threatening to people. What is so
Yeah.
threatening about that?
And, like, I understand if someone is, like, has experienced something personally and then is, like, applying it to everyone, again, problematic. But, like, when you're saying, "This was fucking real for me, and I felt this link in my body," like, I know the link in myself that I suffered from IBS because I was shoving my stress and all of, like, my conflict avoidant tendencies were, like, bearing down on uncomfortable emotions, shoving it into my belly. And then when I stopped doing that, it stopped happening. And so when other people talk to me about their IBS, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, this could be a possible link." Why does that make you so mad?
Oh, yeah. And like, A, it puts the healing, gives you agency, gives you the opportunity to actually do something with on your own or with the support professional as well, depending on, where you're at, instead of putting 100% of your ability to heal in someone else's hands. And those hands are going to give you a prescription drug.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it just blows my mind too. Like this article I read, actually 3 different articles this morning of, this woman really just hating on these different practices and, saying they're causing real harm to people. And it blows my mind. Like, A, tuning into your body, to your somatic experience. It's insane to say that that's going to cause harm. But these prescription drugs with serious side effects. This person I was talking to, their daughter almost died from her birth control pills. Like, that's perfectly acceptable, though, right? We're not going to hate on the doctors that are prescribing birth control pills that are. I mean, let's pull up the statistics of how many women have almost died or died because of their birth control pills. Like, oh, we can't, we
Fuck,
can't.
dang.
And yet something like somatic experiencing created by Peter Levine is causing harm to people, and again, these are just, like, broad claims that are unfounded in evidence, and again,
Yeah.
obviously, the person who wrote this article did not have any proof to back up those claims, was just saying them, and when really, like you said, Leona, I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, their lives have been changed because of this work, and they're experiencing a sense of safety, belonging, and dignity in their lives that they haven't experienced since this trauma, and that
Yeah.
no medication would be able to give them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, if running doesn't make you happy, then don't run."
Hell
If
no, I don't
I
run.
don't run either. But you know what? I don't shit on the people who do.
You're each unique. This I love this word bioindividuality. It's like a mouthful, and I try not to use it, even though I technically should because I'm trained to use it. Is bioindividuality. We each have unique individual biological systems. And what I need and what Leona needs and what whoever is listening right now needs are similar in some ways and vastly different in others.
Yeah,
And there is no one size fits all approach to any of this.
yeah. And I'm gonna just throw this out there. If someone's been personally harmed by somatic experiencing, let us know how. Like,
Yeah.
also, as people who work in this world, I would love to know how to make sure that, like, me and Anna aren't accidentally doing that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let us know how. Like, if that has happened to people, please shout us out so we can know. But the idea that, like, one that has caused a great deal of harm, I find I'm befuddled.
A and again,
Um,
this is like clickbait in my mind, right? Like, this is just like we're making a compelling article,
yeah.
and instead of, that's it. Yeah.
And just the
Gonna
idea
get
that
like,
people tuning into their own lived experience is harmful, then I just have a bigger question about, like, the reality that we built.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, maybe it is easier to be disassociated, but, like, that's not what I want out of my life, even
No.
if it is easier.
Yeah. And yeah.
I know.
And and
And okay, let's take a breath. Everybody listening, we're taking a breath too. I'm gonna just throw this out. Anna, is there anything else we wanna say, whew, in this episode? Mm,
yeah, I guess I just wanna wrap that all up to say, I think part of mine Leona's mission is to empower people to trust themselves again. And one of the deepest ways we can learn to do that is through our body's lived experience,
mhm.
because the body knows this truth. And so I've got my hackles up right now because there's people out there saying that that's not the case. And it is. I can't think of all the different sayings about, I'm like dying on a hill. I don't know. There's some saying there. um, Trust yourself. Learn to trust yourself again. And I'd say the one of the realest ways to learn how to do that is to connect to your body again and not just to your mind. We can get lost in the mind, but the body is a real vessel of truth.
Yeah. I would actually say the mind is full of shit.
I gotta say, all the crazy anxiety stories my mind has taught me over the years, right? All that spiraling I've done, all that, like, oh, she must hate me now because she didn't respond to my text. That all exists in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's led
Yeah.
me astray in a lot of ways. And my
Mhm.
body has led me back. And what a world this would be if more people reconnect to their bodies and were led back to themselves, to their hearts, to their intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And farther away from, like, I would say a lot of the fear mongering that happens in our world, which I think is a big problem right now, is in the mind.
Yeah.
And it's people being unable, uncomfortable with sitting with actual fear and uncertainty. And it's okay to have fear and uncertainty, and it's okay to not spiral about it and not find someone to blame or to fight about it.
Mm, yeah.
I'm glad we've managed to turn our argument for somatics into like the moralistic solution to all of our world's problems. It's funny because we kind of believe it.
Oh, I gotta say.
So we'll take that moral high ground. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I will say that if this people of this world could reconnect to their bodies, to their fucking hearts. Okay, I'm sorry, mom, I dropped the F-bomb again on my podcast.
Sorry, I drop a lot of F bombs.
Their hearts. If you could just stand here and be like, "I am a human with a heart," and look at the person in front of you and say, "That is a human with a heart," and move from there and speak from there and disagree from there.
Yeah.
What a different world this would be. And in order to do that, we need to be reconnected to our bodies.
Boom. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Thanks for coming on this rant journey with us. And super curious to hear people's perspectives because this is like a hot topic right now and we have strong opinions.
Yeah.
And if you're here for respectful discussion, we would love it because, like, that's all we can do. And that's what we need to practice doing. So bring it on. We're here for it. Respectful, please.
I'm a human with a heart. You're a human with a heart. Let's talk about it.
Yay.
And can we all comment from there?
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Leona.
See y'all next time.